This is One on One. There he is. Brad Parks is the author of The Good Cop. How you doing?
Darn good.
And by the way, Lisa Gardner says of your book right on the cover, a knockout thriller as smart and stylish as its charming protagonist, Carter Ross. And by the way, Carter Ross, who is the protagonist, it's a mystery, as I know.
Right.
Does this bear any resemblance to you and your career as a journalist, practicing journalist for many years?
Well, let's see here. Carter Ross is an investigative reporter for a Newark-based newspaper. I was an investigative reporter for a Newark-based newspaper.
Do you admit that?
I do.
Yes.
I do, and I will say that on the record.
Did you cover crime?
Under oath. I did, in fact. Well, this may surprise you, but there is some crime to be covered in Newark.
Really?
I know, stop.
Not in the neighborhood I grew up in.
This is the first you've heard of it. I know. They don't allow crime in the North Ward.
I'm sorry, let's just not go there.
So yes, and he's about 6'1", about 185 pounds, brown hair, blue eyes.
That's the guy.
A totally fictional.
Totally different guy.
Yeah, I have no idea where I came up with him.
How interesting. You did spend those years at the Star-Ledger. And,
Right.
By the way, the newspaper here is called the Newark Eagle Examiner.
Yes.
Not to be confused with that other paper. How much different is it writing on deadline every day
Right.
for a real newspaper about real crime and the writing that you do with these books?
Oh, everything's different. The immediacy of it is very different. I mean, when you're writing about a crime, it's because it's something everyone's talking about, and you're getting that constant feedback of, wow, this is the thing, and this is the moment. And isn't that what we love about being journalists? We feel like we're writing about everything, what people are talking about. Whereas this, I'll write this, and the book doesn't come out for a year or two. So it's I really have to kind of retreat more into my own world and this universe that I'm creating. And there has to be more internal feedback there.
Who's the good cop? What's the story about?
So the good cop is a cop who has, a Newark police officer who has died. And Carter Ross, the protagonist, goes out, writes his story, or gets his story, and then learns that actually it's been ruled a suicide. But he already knows that this cop does not seem like the kind of guy who would off himself. And sure enough, soon the family says, no, this was absolutely not a suicide, but the cover-up is on by that point.
The cover-up is on.
There's a cover-up. A cover-up in Newark. Again,
there is a reason to believe
your disbelief.
And without giving up too much here, would this have anything to do with potential corruption?
No, never.
Within the law enforcement community?
Come now. Could never
You are
happen.
a very cynical young man.
Well, it does happen in the journalism world.
Okay, but there is some corruption.
Yes, there is. And it ultimately, we learn about a gun smuggling syndicate.
Gun smuggling?
Gun smuggling.
That's a theme. You're interested in this
Which
issue,
also
are you not?
happens. Well, you can't be in Newark for 10 years and not get interested in guns, because how many of those crimes you end up covering, is there a gun involved?
So let's talk about the gun issue.
Sure.
Did you have a Virginia experience at some point in your life that caused you to see that each state has its own gun laws and therefore its own, let's say, gun culture?
Gun culture, yes. So I live in Virginia now. So when I moved from New Jersey to Virginia, I'm kind of learning my new state, and I go to this outdoor store. It was a Bass Pro Shops. Big case of handguns. It's like, what?
It's a Bass Pro Shop.
Yeah.
Listen, I didn't grow up fishing, but I think you're talking about fish.
Yeah, but huge case of guns. And so I know what the gun laws in New Jersey are. And of course, they're very onerous, 30-day waiting period, full background check, everything. And I go up to the counter and I say to the guy, so, what are the gun laws here? And he's like, boy, you in Virginia now. Forget 30-day waiting period. They don't even have a 15-minute waiting period. As long as you're not a felon and are tall enough to get the money up on the counter, you're out with a gun. Furthermore, if you have a concealed carry permit, which is very easy to get down in Virginia, you can buy as many guns as you like, no questions asked, and be out the door about 20 minutes later.
Well, then let's talk about the connection between how easy
Right.
and accessible guns are in a situation like that and gun smuggling into another state.
Well, and that's what really struck me as I was standing in this outdoor store, how easy it would be to file off the serial numbers on the gun, throw them in my trunk, and I'm in Camden, I'm in Newark, I'm in Patterson 5 hours later, selling these. This is why law enforcement calls Route 95 the iron pipeline, because it is a conduit from states with very lax gun control laws to states with very tight gun control laws. And this is what is happening in New Jersey cities all the time.
It's interesting. You write about mysteries, if you will. You write these novels, but social, public policy, if you will, issues matter to you a great deal, do they not?
I actually start with the issue. When I think about a book, I say, what issue do I want to tackle? So that, the first
Issue
book,
first?
Yeah, issue first. So the first book was a book about drugs to me. The second book was a book about subprime mortgage and all the real estate craziness. The third book gets into organized labor, things like that. And yes, this is a book about gun smuggling. The fifth one is actually, which is written and ready to go. It's about toxic waste in the mob. Again.
Well, hold on, wait a minute. Now you're really starting to irritate me.
Now I'm really stretching
what are you,
things,
just
right.
watching too many episodes of The Sopranos? Toxic waste in the mob?
I know, go figure.
And you've been finally able to make this connection.
Yeah, 10 years in New Jersey and I finally figured it out, yeah.
Oh boy. Now,
trouble.
Carter, this character.
Yeah.
When you're writing, Carter's been in all sorts of situations.
Right.
Do you find when you're writing about Carter that you feel a need to bring in your past experiences, or does Carter wind up in situations you've never been in as a journalist and you say, you know what, I would have liked to? I know it's a complicated question.
Yeah, no, it is,
but
I follow you because it's been an evolution actually, where the first books were very strictly based on things that I had seen, things that I had done. I give it a little fictional twist in the way it goes. And now, really, Carter is, as his own character, discovering things on his own, and it really is becoming more fictional. But to answer the second part of what I think your question was, yeah, there's some aspirational stuff in there. I mean, I'm not a newspaper reporter anymore, and I loved being a newspaper reporter. And so I think Carter Ross gets to write the stories that maybe I wish I were still writing.
Okay, but you don't live in New Jersey anymore.
Correct.
And for those of us who were born and raised and continue to live in New Jersey, we still want to believe, and you may have heard, we have a governor that...
I've heard a little bit about him, just a smidge. Yeah.
He's sooner or later, he's going to come out of his shell.
Right.
He really say
yeah,
what he really thinks.
It really is. It's a shame how just shy he is.
But he's going to break through.
Reminds me of Corzine in that way, yeah.
He's very much like Corzine. But that being said, the reason I bring it up is I wonder, because you don't live in the state, do you worry that you're not going to feel that Jersey connection and you're going to run out of stuff?
Not really. I mean, 1 year in the newsroom at the Star-Ledger gives you enough material for like 20 novels at least. And I get back up here quite a bit on book tour, to see friends. Sometimes I'll just go into Newark just to walk around the streets.
Do we feel different to you? Do we feel any different? Do we look the same? I mean, what is it? We
There's
just get older every year?
There's an energy to New Jersey, though.
Describe it. For those who... we're on the west side of Manhattan. We're in Lincoln Center, as you know, the Tisch WNET studio. For those, even New Yorkers who may not have actually been to New Jersey and just seen us on television. Right. Go ahead.
So there's a vibrancy, there's an energy, there's a character. Every town in New Jersey has its own feel to it, or every section of Newark has its own feel to it. And I really came to appreciate that. And also, I mean, New Jersey has unique things about it. We are either 1 or 2 in per capita income in the country, and yet have 2 of the poorest cities in Newark and Camden.
Camden and Newark.
And yet we have every different ethnicity, we have every different religion, we have every different ethnic mob, which is good for a crime fiction writer. And yet, because we're the densest state in the Union, all of those people can't help but mashing into each other all the time.
And of course, we have the highest property taxes in the nation.
Right.
But you don't write about property
taxes.
taxes.
Which I don't miss,
no.
I will say.
Brad Parks is the author of The Good Cop. Go out there and get it. Good stuff. You never lose your Jersey roots.
Not at all.
Appreciate it, Brad.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Steve Adubato. We're at the Tisch WNET studio. We'll be back right after this. Thank you very much.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating 25 years of broadcast excellence in partnership with St. Joseph's Healthcare System. Funding has been provided by Barnabas Health, TD Bank, Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, PSE&G, New Jersey Manufacturers Insurance Group, Roche, the law firm of Gibbons PC, and by the New Jersey Education Association. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area. One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been made possible in part by New Jersey State Nurses Association.